love the names on this team. They have Sixto Sanchez, and they have my favorite name probably in baseball right now, Jazz Chisholm.
Showing emotion in baseball is terrible and should never be in the game.
It's weird how the dynamic works between sports.
But to win a championship, not only do you need great players on the court, but you need good chemistry, which takes time to develop.
Justin Fields is a all-time talent.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians.
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a three ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
We can make jokes about you not being in the Super Bowl for 20-something years, but...
What's up, everyone? This is Justin Goldman from the Goalie Guild and Lift the Mask, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by our all-star starter, Austin. I'm the reserve in this case.
Okay. You got elevated. I guess so did I, but I appreciate the nod. So the all-star teams were just announced for the NBA. How are you feeling?
I have many thoughts. Like I texted you because we're gonna go through one conference first, list everything, and have our list say our complaints. And I think we'll start with the West. We said our starters and like when we voted, but that was while Curry was injured. But still, all have gone with Shea. Luka, Jokic, and LeBron all agree with. So the starters are LeBron, Curry, Luka, Jokic, and then Zion. How did Zion become a starter?
Great question. I would have went with Shea. And if you had to go, I would go with Shea over Curry because Curry's missed some games, and I think Shea's outplayed Curry. And then instead of Zion, it should be Domantas Sabonis. Someone averaging 18, 12, and 6. I don't know how Zion made it. That's a great question.
Because I'm like Sabonis or Markkanen, either of those guys before Zion. I could even list like other guys before Zion. Like even like I just don't get, how did Zion get voted in as the starter? Is it just because of the fan vote?
It's partial fan vote, partial general manager, partial coaches, partial players, but fan is the majority of it, and I'm disappointed by the fans' choice.
I'm also not like a huge... I don't believe much in Zion. I just see the injuries, because I think the best player on the Pelicans is probably Ingram. I don't know if
I don't know. Ingram doesn't play enough. Ingram's been out with injuries. I mean, in the past, he's played a lot more. I'd argue this year it's been CJ.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you're going to... Because I just don't see him as the... Like, Zion to me hasn't shown enough being on the court. And he had all the hype at Duke. But, like, Markkanen's had an incredible season. But Sabonis is also an incredible season. So I believe I had Sabonis last time we did the starters. And I was debating Markkanen, but I still went with Sabonis because he was on a better team.
Yeah, and that's the reason why it should be Sabonis, in my opinion. But, yeah, we kind of have the same thoughts. And I just think Shea's better than Curry this year. And the teams are about the same record-wise. Shea's played more games. Shea's been much more impactful.
Yeah, so now we'll go on to... I'm glad we're on the same page there. And now we go to the reserves for the Western Conference. We have Paul George, Shea, Jaren Jackson, Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, John Morant, Sabonis. We argued that Sabonis and Markkanen and Shea should all be starters, so they made the All-Star team. And what are your thoughts?
I hate Paul George and Jaren Jackson Jr. being on here. The fact that De'Aaron Fox is not an all-star, it's sad. It's sad. And I would argue that I would put AD above Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson played 35 games after today. AD's played 29. So the difference is only 6 games. I thought AD's outplayed him. I don't really... Jaren Jackson hasn't played enough games per his stats to be on here. And then De'Aaron Fox, man. A point guard shooting 51% from the field. averaging 6 rebounds, 6 assists, around there, maybe 5 rebounds, 6 assists. I don't really know exactly, but very close to those stats, and he's a very deserving player.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, I'm missing something, and Fox it definitely makes sense. And that's a good point. Also, with Jaren Jackson, I've also like seen the inflating of numbers on the home team court versus away team for Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge conversation when it comes to like defensive player of the year. But I don't know. I'm just disappointed with how things have turned out.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you there. My thing was mainly the starters, but I also get the reserves. Now we'll go to the East, where I probably even have more complaints. The starters are Giannis, KD, Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum. I don't get how Kyrie is a starter. I had KD, Giannis.
Tyrese
Donovan
Halliburton
Mitchell.
should be a starter over.
I agree. And I would also say Jaylen Brown. But I get with like the recent few weeks why Donovan Mitchell is a starter because of the 71-point game.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell should be a starter. I would have Halliburton and Mitchell, and then a player that should also be a starter is Embiid. I would have Embiid over KD, and now it's probably going to happen anyway because of Kevin Durant's injury.
Yeah, I'm confused. So with Western, they have a center with Jokic, but with the East, they don't have
They don't have a center.
list, which would because I get Embiid, and I was like, well, who's the center? I was like, does Giannis?
There is
count as
none.
the center?
They have 3 guards and then 3 bigs is really how they do it.
Yeah,
It's weird. Embiid should be a starter over KD in my opinion. And then how does James Harden not make the All-Star team?
that's a good point. I know some people.
He's averaging 21.4, 6.4, and 11. He's played one less game than Jaren Jackson. If they're going to complain about games.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't get Kyrie.
How is Drew Holiday an All-Star?
That's a very good point. Yeah. Wait. Oh yeah. Jaylen Brown's listed as a reserve. I'm happy about that. I get Bam. I get like Holiday because defensively, I saw like people talking about Brunson. I kind of was like karma for Brunson.
Brunson should not be an All-Star compared to some of the other guys that missed.
That's true. Yeah, I'm shocked James Harden is not on the list because he has the name, and I know he's been having great assists this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like his assist numbers are up. Or no?
That is a true statement.
Yeah. So what else? Yeah. So all the centers are on the bench, and then who would you have? You would have James Harden instead of Drew Holiday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do you feel about Julius Randle?
He should have made it.
Okay.
He did, but he also deserved it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at other names that I don't know if I'm missing anyone. DeMar's been playing well, so I understand that one. And Siakam?
Siakam should have made it as well.
Yeah, there are so many good players.
There should be here's my suggestion to the NBA All-Star board. How do you know how many players can play a night in the NBA? How many players are on each team that can play?
I'm going to guess 11, 12, 13.
13. So you can have 17 on your roster, but only 15 of them can be active, meaning 2 of them are two-ways. 17 on your roster, 2 two-ways. 2 players cannot dress. So at least 4 players not on your team, 2 in the G League, 2 that are on the team but can't dress, and then you have 13 players. But how many All-Stars are there? 12 on each. There should be one more All-Star spot on both sides. Imagine not having a full roster. And that's kind of my qualm a little bit with how the NHL's worked out. Like, it's a 3v3, so how are you even determining this? But for NBA, there should be one more All-Star on each side. And they also made the wrong decision, I feel like, on some of them. Like, it should be James Harden instead of Drew, and then one more All-Star spot, you give that spot to Siakam. On the other side, De'Aaron Fox instead of Jaren Jackson Jr. Paul George shouldn't be an All-Star either. You could put AD over him. The extra All-Star spot you could give to...
Christian
I'm
Wood.
thinking. No, not Christian.
Who else? Shoot, I'm trying to think. Who?
CJ.
Oh yeah, CJ. And then yeah, that feels pretty good. And what else? Also, do you think should you have required bigs, or should we just do best players? Best 5.
It should be positionless.
Okay. So, would you have like 3 guards? Could there be 3 guards? Or listed guards? Like if I had Luka, maybe I'm using the wrong roster. But Tatum's listed as a forward guard, and so they kind of have that there. But I just get like with Luka, he's a bit bigger, and same with like LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
So, like a roster could be Luka, Steph, Shea, LeBron, Jokic. How would you feel about that?
Luka, Shea, LeBron, who?
Steph, and then Jokic. I know I'm missing Sabonis, but I was trying to emphasize on guards.
I get your point. I get what you're trying to say. I mean, if you went to the East, you could have. It really should be, in my opinion, Halliburton's been the best guard in the East. So I put Halliburton and then Tatum, KD, Joel, Giannis.
Okay, and that's kind of like the flip. You have a lot more bigger guys
Yeah.
in the, like you have multiple. But yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, and I'm glad Jalen. Hopefully, he gets a starter soon. Just because he's having an incredible year. So
There will
that's-
definitely be some, whatever it's called, injury replacement players.
that is true. And have they announced any other participants like the dunk contest?
I know Shaden Sharp, I believe, is going to be in the dunk contest. I haven't heard any others. If you could look them up right quick and see.
I looked. It looks like Trey Murphy the third.
3-point or dunk?
Trey Murphy III was invited to participate in the 2023 NBA Slam Dunk Contest and
Slam
should
dunk.
become the last participant alongside Shaden Sharp, Kenyon Martin Jr., and Mac McClung.
Mac McClung is a G League player.
I think they are adding G League players. I think that's something they added.
It better only be to the dunk competition because I better not see a G League player in a 3-point competition or I'm going to be mad.
I guess Shaden Sharp is like a headliner. Like he was like the top 4? No, top 5 pick this year.
I thought he was 7.
Oh, he's 7? Okay.
I'll check. Let me
You're
check.
probably correct. Yeah, Jamari Smith.
He was
wasn't-
7. Shaden Sharp was
Okay.
7. I
Okay,
was
yeah.
thought I was losing my mind for a second.
Okay. But like he's a high profile pick. So I get that, but I still would like more players. Like Zion should be in the dunk contest. So,
Yeah, Zion and Ja.
Yeah, Zion and Ja. Yeah, but so that's something. But that's the roster. We're not particularly happy with it, but there are some pretty easy ones, which they got, but they also missed on some other ones. So any final thoughts before we end the episode?
Nope, I would like to see some changes on the league side of things, but we'll have to see.
We will have to see. And I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't say hold your breath over the changes, but that's all we got. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.